Okay, welcome everybody to the special Monday night, the beginning of the summer, officially the beginning of summer, right after July 4th, after July 1st, we got Canada Day, 4th of July, all that good stuff. It's a good thing the Canadian markets were open today so that we can get back to work. So we're going to be talking about some of the stocks. We've got a couple of stocks this week that look like they're in a really good position to explode. We get about 3-4 stocks. I think the overall picture is a lot of the stocks have been, the stocks in our universe, in the micro cap penny stock universe, have been bottoming out in the last couple of weeks or so. They've been in the bear market since February, as pretty much everybody here knows. They've been pretty much bottoming out. So I think we're going to see some pretty good rallies into September, October. I think the big picture is we're going to see, an incredible blow off bull market top probably by September to November. Sometime in that period, we're going to have just an incredible, maybe another 30% more to go in the big caps. Stocks like Tesla. I think we're gonna see the top of the market when Tesla's around 1,200, 1,400. I think that's and pretty much that's going to be it. But right now, I think we have some real good opportunities, probably for some 4x, 5x moves in a lot of these stocks. Some of the stocks in our universe right now. And hopefully some new ones. By the way, in about 15 days, we're going to have our baby unicorn stocks live stream, which is kind of an audition, if you will, where we're going to bring on 4 companies, interesting stories. They're all relatively cheap prices, which, they got some interesting things going on. And, we're going to find out if maybe they qualify to be potentially the next super stock. Maybe they don't. You're going to vote. So click the link in the video description below to sign up for this. And it's going to be, I think, a lot of fun. We're going to have 4 companies. They're not going to be announced. You're not going to know who they are until they actually show up on the live stream. So, and you got to register. So it's not going to be on the YouTube. It's going to be in the webinar format. So it's going to be a limited audience. And I'm pretty sure actually that a couple of these stocks, at least 2 out of the 4, will probably double within the week. I mean, they're just things are kind of set up, but I don't know if they have that super stock potential. If they do, they don't. And just to clarify, we're going to be fine tuning our platform over the next week or so. We got some companies that are, we got some companies coming off the platform. We're gonna have some new ones, but basically what I'd like to do is by September, I want to really get a very tight group of maybe 8 next super stocks. And that's it. We're going to kind of move away from that Discovery Day platform because I think there was some confusion. Maybe some people, they kind of mix the two together. But just to clarify once again, the next super, and again, I've done the webinar. I'm going to do another webinar on on kind of the methodology of how we go about what is a next super stock, how does a stock get onto this platform, what do we look for, which again the videos are out there, but I'm going to do an update. Because look, the first time I did this was back in November. There was a webinar in November, and we were in a very different market. I think I did another one like a month later, or maybe 2 months later. But we're in a completely different market. So and also things have evolved. Hopefully, I've learned a couple things in the last 6 months. The market's always teaching you new things. So it's going to be. I'm going to do another webinar on picking next super stocks and the whole kind of methodology we have. But again, the main difference between the next super stocks and the Discovery Day companies, first of all, whenever we do the live streams, you always see that in that little crawl at the bottom, whether it's next super stock or Discovery Day. The main difference is next super stock things, they have everything lined up. They got the inflection point, catalyst, the big market. and they also have a track record of delivering news flow. And also, the stock, when we introduce them, is at a pretty low price, and it's kind of at a base. So technically, they're in a good position. The valuation is a good position. There's just a lot of things lined up. The discovery day companies may be missing a couple of these things. For example, they might be missing the technical side, or they might be missing the news flow side for sure, as we've seen a couple of these. So, but otherwise, same idea. And sometimes the discovery day companies become next super stocks. We saw that with CBDT, which was our biggest winner to date. So, goes to show you nobody knows anything. But anyway, we'll do something later on where we'll kind of go through all that stuff. So click the link to join the Baby Unicorn live stream. Again, July 20th. Just again, to clarify, the 4 companies that are going to be presenting, it's an audition. It's an audition. I have no, I'm not saying these are going to, be 10 baggers, 5 baggers, anything like that. I'm pretty sure they all have a good chance to double in the first 30 days. I think they got enough things going for them that, and we're coming in at the kind of the right times. There's probably going to be some action. But beyond that, I have no idea. I really have no opinion in terms of that. Or I'll find out, actually, it'll be based on your vote. Well, actually, I should say one of them I think could be good. We'll see. I think one of them has something going for it. In terms of July 20th. Oh, yeah, it says July 20th. Right, July 20th. That's right. Is it July 20th? It might be. We might change the date. I think it might be the 15th. I'll let you know tomorrow or so. This might be an old thing here. So let's see here. Let me just answer a couple questions. Okay, here's an example. So Imagine AR, that was one of our next super stocks, was 12 months ago, last year. Things change all the time. So, when we introduced the stock, it was relatively cheap. I think it was originally, it might have been 6 cents. I don't know. Then it dropped. Anyway, wherever it went. So that thing did very well. And actually, they were with us for about 6 months. And, I kind of thought that the story was pretty much, it ran its course. I didn't really want to continue. But the stock has actually gone on. I think in April, it even hit an all-time high. So what do I know? But anyway, that's, again, the idea with the next super stocks, just to clarify, is, I want to get into these stocks kind of in that, get that, the really meaty part of the move. Right when it starts to move and get that 10x, maybe even 20x, 15x, and then get out and go on to the next deal, which could be a 10 bagger, and really kind of parlay. In theory, some of these things can become 50x, 100x. You never know. I mean, it happens all the time. But again, the odds are, once a lot of these stocks go 10x, 20x, that's pretty much it. They might just stagnate for a while in that range, for a couple of years, then they might go higher. You never know. But really, our idea is to find the next new thing. Look, at the end of the day, we can't, cover the same stocks over and over. I want to have new stuff all the time. I want to have, new companies. And the other thing I want to add, which I'm going to talk about on the next webinar, one new thing I want to add is, we want to get into these stocks when the valuation is cheap. And pretty much, what I've really learned is a couple things. is, especially with these Canadian stocks, I think it's a Canadian thing, but once they reach like a 300 million market cap, it becomes very difficult. A lot of them just never break past that. Some do, but most of them they don't, or they stagnate in that area till like another wave takes them higher. And and that really depends on some serious fundamentals. I mean, you need some serious execution fundamentals. So that's the idea. Like Cloud MD, I think, is in that spot where they've actually executed, but they've been in that consolidation for a long time. So UK licenses. Okay. Let me just, before we get into the stocks that are going to be moving this week, let me just go into a couple of the big themes. Bitcoin, I pull up Bitcoin every once in a while because it's kind of an overall picture, kind of a backdrop for the speculative fervor in the markets. The Bitcoin thing is definitely bearish. It's in a definitely bear market, and I think we're going to see some lows, maybe between 12,000, 18,000, especially if it breaks this 30,000. It's really, it's kind of held on here, but I really think it wants to break down. Again, it could turn around. You never know these things. Like, we've seen some real great, amazing fake outs in Bitcoin. How many times? 1, 2, 3. There's been at least 6 upside bullish fake outs in Bitcoin in the last 2 months. You have these kind of key reversal, upside reversal patterns, and they just don't work out. So to me, that's not a good indicator. I mean, it tells me that this thing definitely, the crazy thing, from what I understand with Bitcoin, is unlike other speculative assets, stocks, what have you, I think like 80% of the people who bought Bitcoin, they still own it. They would never. It's like a religion. So you just have these hodlers, the hodl crowd, which is just never going to give it up. And there's always this kind of belief in this. So we'll see what happens. I mean, but the Bitcoin is really no longer I think it's losing its bellwether status. It's kind of, the Bitcoin thing, I think, is going back to that kind of like, the crazy uncle category. I think it's going to be relegated to that. So we're going to go to Tesla, which is the bellwether. Again, Tesla is in bull mode, broke above its moving average, and thing is looking amazing. I think we're going to see 1,200, 1,400 on Tesla, maybe even higher. We might see some crazy move. I have no idea. We might see something just absolutely crazy. Okay, so let's get into the heart of the what we're doing here. AIML. Stock we haven't talked about in a while. It's been, there were kind of, the news kind of died out. All of a sudden, things coming back to life in the last couple of weeks. It's broken above its moving average. It's had some pretty strong days here. It's the other thing is, so again, it's a health tech, medical technologies company, based, they kind of, I guess the way it's evolving, I think this is the unofficial way of saying it. The way it's evolving is basically, I would almost call it, again, this is not how the company would describe it, maybe, but I would essentially call it sort of a conglomerate of, or maybe a holding company conglomerate of health tech, cutting edge, health tech innovation. So they got, patient monitoring. They're doing this mental health stuff. So it's telehealth, but really, so I think, they took a big position in this European company. They got 20% of that. They got the health gauge. I think they're gonna have some other deals. That's what the CEO, that's what the chairman has been saying, Tim. So I think by the end of the year, we're gonna see something really interesting as this thing like takes shape, sort of as this. This is kind of like a baby unicorn. It's kind of coming out of the egg. It's kind of forming. So the baby unicorn is not the full size. I'll give you an example. So see, like in the top corner, it's like AIML looks like that. It's like a little baby unicorn. It's not the full size with the wings. As you can see, this baby unicorn, the baby unicorn stocks a logo. He doesn't have the wings yet. He or she, I don't know what it is, maybe, but But yeah, so that's what I think, that's what AIML is. But anyway, the stock is looking really good. By the way, make sure you click the subscribe button, the like button, the dislike button, whatever you want, so we get that YouTube algorithm cooking. I think this week we're going to have a really nice move in AIML. It's looking great. Here is another stock. I think somebody was pulling up Fans. Okay, so Fans, always, again, the ride up in Fans, I mean, this thing has been like pulling teeth. It's been very frustrating. Again, we introduced this at, I don't know, 22 cents, 22 cents last. It's been almost a year. So it hit a high of 2.25 and change, pulled back. I think ultimately we got at least $3.50, $4 on this thing, maybe more. We're going to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I want to kind of see how this thing plays out. But, 2 weeks ago, this thing looked like it was going to explode. I mean, look at this volume. All of a sudden, this thing would look like it was going to go straight to $3. I talked about it in the live streams. The stock goes to $1.25, and they do this financing. Again, like every Canadian financing, this thing falls apart. You got shorts, the whole short selling. Yeah. We can go into this thing for hours. I mean, there's a trade-off between, the companies, they have a business, they got a business to run. Why do they need cap? I don't know. I'm not a fan of the financing. If they wouldn't do the financing, I really believe the stock would be $2 right now. That being said, look, they're in a great position right now. I got a ton of cash. It could be, again, I don't have that. I'm not like that. I don't talk to these guys every day, so I don't know. It could be, maybe they have a big deal in the works. Why else would they be raising, when you think about it, why else would they be raising a ton of cash right now? Like they have, why would they be doing this? So it must be, that's what I'm thinking. Again, I don't know anything. There's no official, purely speculation. But the stock looks like it's bottomed out. It's held on really well right here. And I think this is going to be the week for Fans. Let's go to the 1-hour chart. You can kind of see it is below the moving average, but you see like a base starting to take shape. It looks like it wants to pivot off of that. And you're going to see if Fans you're going to basically see if it closes above $1 is going to be your indicator. So if you don't own Fans right now, I wouldn't rush to buy it unless it goes above $1. But once it goes above $1, I think it's going to break through. It's going to close that gap, and then we could see 250 plus. I'd like to see at least $3 on the stock. I mean, because I said 350, 250, 350 a couple times, many times. I'd like to see that at least $3 happen. That would be nice. Okay, let's take a look at another stock that did a financing in the esports space. ESE Entertainment. So ESE is a stock, one of our next super stocks that we introduced last, was it late November, whatever this was, 28 cents, whatever it was. So it's basically been a 15x. It's pulled back, and I think we've seen the bottom here. I think I'm very confident that we've seen the bottom. As you can see, it's been starting to. It looks like it's starting to make a move for the last week. Look at you got these bigger, wider trading ranges. It broke above the moving average. I mean, it looked like it was right this day. This was the 28th of June. It looked like it was just going to break out. And then you had this, I don't know, you had kind of a sell-off, but not too much. I mean, just, it's almost like they're keeping a lid on it. But you can see this. It's like a pot that's boiling and bubbling. Like the lid wants to come off. And I think this is the week where we're going to see some action in Fans. Not Fans, both Fans and ESC. As you can see, this is the short-term chart. This is the 1-hour chart. Yeah, you see a base forming here. It is above the moving average, which is good, the 50 period moving average. That's a plus. Yeah, so I think it's looking good. Financing, yeah, it's good. I don't think, by the way, I don't think fans is going to go down more. It might be kind of stuck in a range. I don't, I wouldn't kind of, I put it this way, I wouldn't wait to, if you're not in fans, I wouldn't wait to buy fans. Like I wouldn't wait till it goes to 80 cents. I don't think that's going to happen. Um, I might wait till it breaks above $1, because that would mean it's a confirmation of an uptrend. Again, none of this is any type of investment advice. Nothing here is a recommendation. You could lose all your money with these stocks. They're all high risk. As you can see below, the companies we're talking, most of the companies we're talking about are clients of Wall Street Reporter, with the exception of Tesla, and Bitcoin is not a client. Let's see here. Okay. So ESC is looking really good. The stock I think what it's doing right now is it is in the beginning of a new uptrend, and I think we're going to see new highs in ESE by the end of the summer. So you're looking at over the next 60 days, roughly. The next 2 months, I would say maybe 3 months, because probably the real action is going to happen into early September when everybody kind of wakes up. But I really believe that ESC is going to be much higher than it is by September. I think we're going to be north of $3, $4 even. We'll see what happens, but I think we're going to see $4. So you have a triple here, by the way. I think it could be an easy triple once it starts moving, especially once it breaks above $2. Then it's going to be like, game on. Once this thing breaks above $2. Speaking of which, by the way, AIML, I don't think I really talked about the stock in terms of the upside, but again, this thing has got a $20 million market cap. It's like nothing. Let's call it 25 to round it off, fully diluted or whatever. So it's maybe 20 million US, right? That's like nothing. I think this thing can go to, look, we have plenty, you've seen plenty of stocks go to 100 million market cap, like that, easy. So 5x from here would be, like $4. I think we could see 350 on AIML. I know it sounds crazy, but I think this thing, and there's not a lot of chart data. That's the problem. There's really no chart data. It's very, you just have this thing. You can't really use this chart except the moving average. Maybe it's going to take a while before this thing kind of builds out. So it's almost useless, except for maybe the short term, the 1 hour, which is looking good. But yeah, I think this is going to be like, I think go to 100 million market cap. They do a couple of interesting acquisitions. The health tech thing starts getting traction again. So that would be a 5x. So I think this is an easy $253 stock. Is it going to be a 10 bagger? I don't think it's going to be a 10. You never know. But it's an easy 5x. Easy. Again, this is still in our AIML is not one of our next super stocks. It's in one of our it was introduced as a discovery stock. It's still been there. Again, one of the things has been, the fundamental, it doesn't have, it's still kind of early stage, relatively speaking. So it's still forming. So it's like a baby unicorn. It's not like usually our next super stocks are like teenage unicorns. It's more or less a unicorn. This is still like a baby unicorn. What is it? The RHT, yeah. RHT is actually another stock that we have here. You know what I like about RHT? What I find most compelling about this actually is this stock has so many haters. there's like there's actually, if you go on these, I was on the, what is it, the CEO.ca. That's, yeah, because that's kind of, the CEO.ca is like the official message boards for the Canadian stocks, pretty much. And you can see this. And I kind of look at these boards to kind of see what the, investor sentiment, the psychology is. And there's so many people that hate the stock for, I guess they don't realize it's a venture capital investment. It's not going to happen. Things are not going to progress, like clockwork. Like, it's a venture stage company. There's things that happen. So I think people are, maybe there's a lot of people who got into the stock a couple of years ago, maybe, and the thing, it's had its runs, and it's had, the company's had some missteps along the way. And so you got a lot of bag holders. I hate to say it because it's kind of, but basically you got a lot of people holding the bag. Okay, so unfortunately, they might have gotten in, $1.50, whatever it is. And I think we're in a great position here. Fundamentally, the company has never been better, fundamentally. And the stock is, it's pretty cheap. It's actually, what is it? It's 50 cents right now. So it's maybe double what it was. Okay, so its all-time low is here. Ooh, 17 cents. That's pretty low. Let's call 20 cents. So 20. Let's say, if you call 20, I'd say 25 cents was probably the real bottom of this thing. So 25 cents, right, in the last couple of years. And here you are. This company has got, like, if you listen to the CEO interviews, and again, a lot of people are saying, oh, they have never delivered this, that, what. Look, these things, again, most of these companies, very few companies actually deliver on time, in the venture world. Things just take longer than you expect. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But they're saying they're going to be, profitable this year, cash flow. So we're going to see it's going to be a binary event. You're going to know pretty much, I would say, the next, let's say the next 3 months, you're going to know if this is a dog or not. That's it. So, but meanwhile, the fundamentals are great. The chart is starting to look really good. I thought we had a breakout over here back in May. I thought that was we had a nice run. I guess people didn't like the earnings. I don't know. It was silly. But this should have been the breakout here, and it didn't. But look what happened. It's pretty interesting. The stock it pulled back, but now it's been climbing back. So I think what the market is trying to tell us is that, hey, this thing is for real. This thing is for real. And you know what else I love about this? Again, getting back to the psychology, the investor psychology. The investor psychology is, whenever I see on the message boards, whenever I see on message boards, like guys saying, oh, this thing is going to be $200, it's going to be $100. When you talk about a dollar stock, oh, it's going to be $100, it's going to be, we're either at the top or very close to it. But when people are saying, oh, this thing is, they're just so negative about everything. Oh, this is bad. This is terrible. Oh, everything. Then that people have thrown in the towel. So I think it's a good situation. It reminds me of like TBP, which is another one of our favorites here. I love stocks that have a lot of, thousands of whatever shareholders that, got in early. Okay, they got in early, too early, basically. And now they're disgruntled. They lost page. So, so people have given up on the stock. The stock is left for dead. And that's when you can come in at the bottom, like this guy, 20 cents. I don't know. I got to see this. I got to see his account records, but that's what he's saying, 20 cents. Okay. Relay. Here's another one. Relay. Now, Relay, this is, okay, again, this is one of our Discovery Day stocks, Discovery Day. So what they were missing, what didn't make it a super stock. The fundamentals weren't, it wasn't like quite 100% there. The news flow wasn't quite there when we started, and also the valuation. So we came in, I think we got involved in this near the peak. I think it was right around here, 50, 60, somewhere in this kind of range. I almost don't want to look at this chart. It's kind of embarrassing, but yeah, we're the bag holder now. So this is, and it was the COVID. So it had a lot of things which, look, the market was bullish at the time, and you know what? Knowing what I know now, I would not get involved in the company at that blowout crazy phase. Would I get involved in it now? Yeah, now it's starting to look interesting, because you got the interesting stuff that they're doing, and the valuation is getting better. So you got 22 cents, right? You got kind of a bottom forming here, and something is cooking because the stock is starting to move. Again, people have given this thing up for dead. I think we're going to see a bottom happen here. And, the company, they got some interesting things going on with their kind of their health tech platform. They actually delivered. They actually delivered on what they said they would do with the COVID testing at the airports. So that's actually happening. How many companies do you know that said they would do COVID testing, at scale and never delivered? 18 out of 20. These guys are actually doing it. So the problem is the market doesn't care about COVID anymore. And and that's this thing. That's the other thing is, at that time, even earlier, I was saying, look, the COVID thing is kind of like, it's last year's news. I was saying this back in like December, earlier September last, because people had enough of the COVID thing, October. But again, you had this kind of like one last blowout of the COVID thing because you had a second wave, and you got all the craziness. Even it wasn't that big of a wave, but anyway, I think this thing is actually going to do okay. Let's see what happens this week. Let me look at this 1 hour chart. Yeah, the chart's looking good. But again, that's going to be a case study on one of our webinars. Knowing what I know now, I'd have. Look, what happens is, I have to say, what is it? I screwed up. Okay, look, what happens is, at the top of every bull market, you have underwriting standards get more relaxed. So you have this in every bull market. Like you had this in the housing market. You had underwriting standards got relaxed. Things were going great. People would give mortgages. Was it back in 08, 06, whatever, 07. At the top of, whatever, the .com or at the top of the, whatever, at the top of every market, when things are really going great, they'll say, you know what, let's take out another company. And, even though it's not 100% what we need, but you know what, the market's doing good, the momentum will help it carry through and it'll work out. So we took on a couple of companies in that February period. So I would say the class of February, March is not our best cohort, I would say, because look, we took on companies when they didn't have everything lined up. And again, for the next super stock thing, the main characteristic is they get everything lined up. So it's an asymmetrical bet. It's almost like a no-lose situation. But what happened in February, March was the market was already going crazy. You had so many stocks that, we had a bunch of stocks already up 15x, 10x, 5x. It was going nuts. So, I figured, hey, this thing is looking good. It's probably going to get the momentum is going to carry through, even though it might be missing this. It doesn't have as much news flow. So there you go. And I'm sure I'm going to make the same mistake again, maybe 18 months from now, the next big bull market. But that's the way it is. It's always what is it as I think as Warren Buffett said, Warren Buffett, what does he said about bull markets? He says the bull markets are just like sex. It always feels best right before it ends, right? So here, very, very similar. So, But anyway, look, these things are turning around. So Relay, this thing is gonna work itself out. But one thing I do need to add, very important, which I did mention in our next Super Stock webinar. I haven't talked about it as much, but look, the idea is we're essentially in the public venture capital business, right? So we're looking for these massive exponential returns to make 10x, 20x, 100x. Okay, that's the goal, right? But when you're looking for those types of returns, just like in venture capital, you're going to have some losers. You have to be prepared to have, 10% or 20% of those companies that you take on go to zero, like zero. Because again, in a typical venture portfolio, I showed one of our slides. I'll do it again in the future, but in a typical venture portfolio, the big bucks is made off of like out of let's say 10 companies, one or two of them, maybe one, will become like that 20x, 50x, whatever it is, and it's going to cover the whole that's going to pay for everything. 3 or 4 of them are going to be just, okay, whatever. Maybe there might be doubles, maybe like get their money back. But the bottom 20% are going to go to zero, like maybe even the bottom 30%. And they expect that. I mean, that's like, that's the way it works. It's not going to be any different with our stuff. So, I'm not going to mention the company anyway, which companies, but look, we're going to have some dogs. Okay. We've had some dogs. We don't have any dogs in the platform right now. Well, we have almost, but I'm not going to mention any names, but okay, a former Discovery Day company. Again, we had weak underwriting standards. Here's the thing. Look, with the crypto space, when we took on GBLC and some of that, it was right when Bitcoin was starting, right before it peaked, like right around that peak. And if you recall, last November, I said this Bitcoin is going to go to like 100,000 by maybe the next by April maybe. And sure enough, by March, this thing was at 60,000. Again, I'm not a believer in Bitcoin. I couldn't care less about Bitcoin. And my thinking was, the investment thesis was, forget about everything else, but if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, stocks like GBLC are going to go 10x. You're just going to have that mania take everything up. And they had enough going on that, okay, hey, you know what? If Bitcoin goes to 100,000, this thing is going to work out. But if it doesn't, and again, when I introduced it, I told you everybody, look, high risk, purely a bet on Bitcoin. That's what it's a sentiment play. And Bitcoin is look, what is cryptocurrency? It's complete bullshit. I mean, it's basically just sentiment. It's not backed by anything. But hey, let's see here. We got so let's go to TBP, another stock that's looking really good right now. So we got a nice consolidation happening here. So the 1 hour chart. Let me go to the 1 day. So okay, so TBP we introduced when was it? It was here, I think, right? 15 cents. Yeah, so it's 15 cents when we introduced it, and it went to 52, I think. So it's been a nice quick triple in the midst of a bear market. At that time, it was a bear market for penny stocks, and I tell you, this thing was, it's a stupid Canadian financing. This thing was ready to go to 75 cents, maybe even new highs. The financing of that derailed the whole bull market express. The bull market express got derailed. It took the local route, and it's been making the stops. It's like a train that makes those stops every 2 minutes. It's like anyway. I think we're almost done here. I think that we've pretty much bottomed out. we're about to. It's really at the tail end of this thing. This thing is looking really good here. 1 hour chart is looking decent. Once we get above 35 cents, a couple of solid closes, that could be a good indication of a breakout getting ready to happen. RHT, I think I didn't finish. Sorry, I got distracted. I got distracted with the RHT. I didn't finish, but too many distractions happening. I'm sounding like Joe Biden here. Off everything. All right. And this guy's president, right? So hey, I can get away with it then. Yeah, I think TBP is going to be an easy $253 stock the next 6 months. I know it sounds crazy. That's my opinion. I think that's what the charts are telling me. It is going to be a $253 stock, 6 months, maybe 9 months. Great pipeline, great fundamentals, a lot of catalysts. Let's see what happens. Again, there's guys who are saying it's going to be $20. And they're smarter than me. You got Sean Black who thinks it's going to be $20. Again, when he says $20, that means like, hey, when they got the drugs in the market, that could be 5 years out. I think most of you guys will be long out of the stock by then. But meanwhile, I think it's good for $250, maybe $3. So that is TBP. The bull case remains intact. RHT. I think we're getting warmed up here. I think we're going to see new highs easily. I would say we're going to see new highs by September. And I'll give you kind of my big target then, but I think it's going to be north of $5. I know it sounds crazy at this point, but wait till the stock gets to above $1. Okay, and now I'm going to close out with a stock that is currently in the doghouse. It is bottoming out. It's not. There's no buy signal right now. It's bottomed out. I mean, the bottom fell out of it, quite frankly. Again, that is logic. Logic, which fundamentally, this could be a $40 stock based on the fundamentals, based on the comps. It's trading on NEO right now, so all the Canadians can buy it for their TFSA accounts. Again, it's a stock we introduced last year. I think it was like $3, $3.50 maybe. And, it hit a high of about $14 a couple months later. Sure enough, what happens in January? The Canadian financing strikes again. So they announced they're going to uplist on the NEO exchange, to open up the stock for more markets. Also do a financing. The idea is once they go in NEO, then they can go in the NYSE or NASDAQ. I know it's kind of like a complicated thing, but that's the game plan. The company's delivered on everything. They're delivering on margins, everything. But meanwhile, they announced that they're going to do a financing. All the short sellers come out of the woodwork. And this, again, the problem with these financing, these Canadian deals is once they announce it, then the company can't promote the stock. So they can't do, they can't really do news releases that are positive. I mean, we saw the same thing happen with Peak. So basically the company, it's like you have no defense. And you just have, the short sellers just come out and just bombardment. How can you blame them? I mean, it's almost like a free gift. So basically you had them shorting the stock from $8 to right here. I think they've covered. Probably most of it was through the financing. And here we are at the bottom. I think we're going to see an uptick in the stock any moment. We're definitely at the bottom. I don't think it can go any lower. I mean, it's like you getting the company for free at this point. It's ridiculous. So can it go to $2? possibly, I think the odds of it going below where it is right now, below 250, 225, very small. So I would say you have a pretty good chance. My upside on the stock, upside target. Okay, here's a historic chart. Again, there was a reverse split. Yeah, okay. My upside target is right here. $40. No, that's 36, $40. So my upside target is $40. This feels like deja vu. It really does, because the last, one of the other stocks I did the same thing with, I showed you, was CBDT. Had a very, very similar looking chart. Very similar CBDT, very similar chart, but it was at a nickel. And lo and behold, made a crazy 50x move. So I believe that Logic, I think it's the same setup. Actually, it's better because Logic has fucking solid fundamentals. I mean, this is like incredible. Incredible. Project X. Wow, this guy's a good memory. Project X is actually in the works. We got in the works. So it hasn't been talked about, but something will happen very soon. Could be a good opportunity here. I think Trip is going to be. Pretty interesting. I think we should be kind of. I mean, I think they did this merger, which I think a lot of people don't like. They don't understand. But the chart is looking good. I should say, look, it's kind of at this point, you don't have the all clear, the buy signal. It's not there right now, but you can tell it's going to happen once it breaks really above this, like 32 cents and 35. You can see what's going on here. Let me look at the 1 hour chart. Yeah, you can see this thing is like, it's like going to pivot off of this base here. I think this is a stock to watch for this week. So again, the stocks to watch this week: AIML, Fans, ESE. I'll throw Trip in there also. I said 3 stocks, whatever. But then we get a couple of other things that are possible. So again, AIML is in a good position. Fans, ESE, Trip, very interesting. Relay, also very interesting. TBP. Logic, keep an eye on it. So you don't have a buy signal on it yet, but it could be triggered at any moment. You got to put that stock on your watch list, I believe, because once this thing really bottoms out, it's going to run like, I mean, it's a very thin stock. It's like, I mean, Logic is a stock that can go from $250, it can go to $10 like, in a week. Easy. It's like ESC, also very thin, very tight stock. So keep an eye on that stock. Again, it's it already made a big move. I think it's not done yet. Look at this chart. I mean, this thing is not. It is not done. It's not done. With that said. No, actually, I think we're going to see a very hot summer actually right now. I think we're going to see some big moves starting to happen right now. It could be that September might be, we might see a blowout, September, October. We might see a blowout between September and October, like September to November period. But I think the big moves are going to happen right now. We're going to see some big moves. And by the time people come back, a lot of people are taking off the summer to go, to the cottage, doing kind of the lake. By the time they come back, they're gonna, by the time you snooze, you lose. By the time you come back, you're sleeping. Yeah, you're gonna miss half the big move. So I think that a lot of these stocks right here, you're getting good setups. Like, for example, with Logic, I think it's a really good risk reward setup. I mean, what's your downside? I mean, the downside is minimal. It's like almost zero. You have zero downside, basically. Meaning, can the stock go to zero? It's possible. I mean, unlikely, but can it go to $2? Maybe. So you have 20 cents downside or 40 cents downside, whatever. But the upside is, $40. So you're risking 40 cents. That's your setup. You're risking 40 cents to make $40. I think that's a good setup. So on that note, I am going to wish you a good night. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's live stream, and we will see you on the next one soon this week. And make sure you sign up for the Baby Unicorns live stream. The link is in the video description below, July 20th or the 15th, whenever it's going to be, coming up soon.